the lowest hell, the guilty pain, bow down with care. God save His Son to weep His erring child. He reconciled and pardon from His sin. Oh, love of God, how rich and pure, how measureless and strong, it shall forevermore endure. The saints and angels song. Could we within the ocean's fill, and where the skies of parchment made, where every stalk on earth a queen, and every man a scribe by trade, to write the love of God above, who drained the oceans dry, nor could the scroll contain the whole, those threads from sky to sky. Oh, love of God, how rich and pure, how measureless and strong, it shall forevermore endure. The saints and angels song.
Thank you. That's amazing singing group. Amazing voices. Yes, they're amazing. Thank you so much. We are starting a week of marriage and a Christian walk, particularly this end of time. I would like to make this appeal. And I might look as eccentric, but I want to say Seventh-day Adventist is God's chosen end-time church. And the things that are happening are led by the Holy Spirit. We started the year with the 10 days of prayer. We had a stewardship day. We now have family week. This is a program of Seventh-day Adventists the world over. And if you believe that this church was raised by God, this church is fed by God, and therefore every program has a meaning. Therefore, look at this weekly program as something that your loving Heavenly Father has seen it imperative that you should participate in your Christian walk. So our message this evening is marriage, a heavenly ordained union. The subject of the entire week is Christianity, marriage, and family life. Many of us do not connect marriage with the family life, but marriage, not marriage and family life, but marriage and Christianity. But marriage is at the center of Christianity. The two are so closely linked together. I can dare say that to the extent that if you fail in one, you are likely to fail in the other. What I'm saying is, if you fail in your marriage, there is high probability that you might fail in your journey to heaven. That is how closely connected these two are. So let's stay together. There will be marriage lessons. There will be courtship lessons. There will be conflict resolution sessions. There will be handling finances. So don't think it's just for married people. This is for everybody who is a Christian. If you are not married, you will be contemplating marriage. So we are going to look also at courtship. And if you are not contemplating marriage, you want to live, perhaps you are gifted like Paul. You are an eunuch who doesn't bother in marriage. Yet you come from a family. And hence, you need to know the principle of having a harmonious family. So as we start, let us pray and let the Holy Spirit be the guide. Father in heaven, marriage, family life, these are very important topics for today, where day by day marriage is being invalidated by the devil. He's seeking to devise new things that are not in the Bible, new things that the prophets would have been shocked to hear. Yet we are living in those days where we can hear and see these things. We pray that may your Holy Spirit guide as we share during this Familyhood Week. Be with us now and forevermore. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Now, let us look at the marriage vow. Many of us who are married, or all of us, made vows when we got married. What did that vow say? Do you, Ben, do you, Jeff, take Liz to be your wife, to live together after God's ordinance in holy matrimony? And we all said, I do. To have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do us part. And we all overwhelmingly said, I do. I've never gone into a wedding where these words were spoken and one raised up their hand and say, there is one element in that statement I don't agree with. We all said, I do. But then when the boat starts being rough, you are the first to throw away what you promised. So what does that vow in practicality mean? We vowed by word, but in practical terms, this is what we do. For better, for best, for richer, for wealth, in goodness and in health, until somebody better comes along. And that is why in the morning, Pastor says, the statistics in Namibia at one time showed that divorce rates were 80%. 80% of those people who took this vow said until somebody better comes along. And I wonder, as we talk about the statistics of marriage, whether there are still people who are contemplating marriage. Does it make sense? If there was a business where you are told the chance of success is 5%, will you put your money there? And yet, more and more people are getting married. More and more people are planning to get married. And you haven't stopped and thought that, could I become a statistic, part of the 80%? And if you want to be part of the successful 20%, then there are some practical things you need to do. Don't go and marry as playing dice, that maybe my marriage will be a success. If you are going saying maybe, for sure it will be a failure. You have to go with the understanding and clear what it takes to make a successful marriage. And so tonight, very briefly, we are going to share 7 secrets of a happy marriage. And if you are contemplating to marry, hold these secrets dear. And if you are already married, maybe some of these things you have not been applying in your marriage. The call tonight is listen to them carefully, because they are the bedrock of success in marriage. Now, one man called Young Man said the secret of a happy marriage remains a secret. And that's why divorce rates are high. It remains a secret. It remains an elusive secret because people refuse the principles set forth in the Bible. It's amazing how people do not care about what the Bible says and still expect their marriage to become successful. It amazes me. There is no way you can have a successful marriage without following what God said. In fact, I will go further and say that non-Christians are getting into marriage, they're getting into a business of loss. If you enter marriage without God, I can guarantee you 100% it's a loss-making business. Marriage makes sense only if God is there. And if God will be there, we need to take heed of the Bible principles. It's so simple. And yet it's something that has eluded these so many marriages. And that is why we have very high divorce rate. Tip number 1, husbands, love your wife as yourself. Love your husband. So husbands, love your wife as yourself. If you love your wife as yourself, will you shout to her? And sometimes in a moment of temptation, you have shouted to her, then remember this principle. And then go and say, I am sorry. By shouting at you, I am hurting myself also. Colossians 3:9 says, husband loves your wife, and do not be harsh with them. And when you continue, it says that for the women are weaker vessels. In the way God designed us, women are not to handle heavy things. It's all right for men to handle heavy things. We are made like that. But for women to be made to carry heavy things, that's not how they are designed. Women are designed to be loved. Women are designed to be appreciated. I'm not saying women abuse your husbands, but I'm saying when harsh environments occur, God knows that a man can resist better than a wife. So husbands, do not be harsh to your wives. Speak to them kindly. I don't want to say so many things that I observe. Otherwise, you will not invite me in your home, because you say, oh, what elders see, they go and preach. So I will end there by just saying, do not be harsh to your wives, husbands. And in fact, let me say that husbands, we will answer for the broken marriages. Because the Bible says Christ loved the church. When there was a controversy between the church and Christ, who took the first initiative to reconcile? It was Jesus. Likewise, if there is a controversy in marriage, in family, it is upon the husband to be the first one to take steps towards mending the problem. So God will ask the husband, what happened that this marriage ended up in a divorce? You will have to answer. And there is no two way about it. You were given that responsibility. Many men will say, I love you, honey. I will die for you, my love. Just as Christ died for the church. But let the lion come when you are only two of you, husband and wife. What do you think will happen? The husband will run the fastest. And while he is there, he will look behind. My wife, are you safe? But he is safe over there. You should face the lion as a husband. Be willing to die to defend your life. Now, the wife says, oh dear, you're always saying that, but you never do anything about it. That actually describes many husbands. That we talk a lot. Especially when the wife has cooked nice food and you are eating and you are enjoying. You say, oh, my wife, I can die for you. But tomorrow there is a problem. You are the first one to say, this behavior, you learned it from where you're coming from. Here, if you don't change, I will get another one. You who said yesterday you are willing to die. So wives are crying to say, husbands, what you are saying is not what you are living. So let us try to show in practical terms that we are willing, indeed, even if it means dying, we are willing to die because Christ died for his church. Wives, honor and submit to your husband. My wife and I have gone around the the length and breadth of Namibia talking about family life. And a lot of times we put men aside and women aside, and then we say, what are the family problems? And almost always, without exception, men will come and say, wives are not respecting us. So wives, the Bible is saying, it's God's commandment, honor and submit to your husband. Honor and submit to your husband. What does honor mean? Honor means to hold one in highest esteem as a precious partner. That's what you have been called, wives, to do. And if these two things were to be practiced as written in the Bible, divorce will only be a word in the dictionary. It would not happen. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and died for it. Wives, honor the husband and esteem them as precious partners. Ephesians 5:22, wives, submit to your husband as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. That's an emphasis that as Christ is the head and the Savior of the church, so husbands also be heads and saviors of your family. But oftentimes, the husbands demand the headship part, but they don't talk about the saviorship part. The two go together. You are head of the family in order to save the family. So, you will sacrifice for the family. You will do whatever it takes to ensure that marriage works. In fact, we need to promise each other that divorce is not in your mind. Whatever happens, the wife needs that assurance that my wife, I married you for keeps. If you made a mistake to marry me, it's your problem. But as for me, this is permanent. That assurance needs to be there. Not to do this or else, there is divorce. That statement is not a Christian statement. We need to be saviors of our marriage and our families as well. Now, the wife needs to say this. Because the husband is the head, wives, and Sister White has written a lot about this, on the submission part of the game, that wives, you need to submit. In fact, she says this: if it's not an issue of thus says the Lord, what the husband says is the last. So one day I said here, if you're going to buy set sofas, the husband wants red, the wife wants black. When the husband says it's red sofas, that settles the matter. Yes? That's submission. And Sister White says that if it's not an issue of thus says the Lord, what the husband says is what goes. So you don't start saying, hey, you men are colorblind. red sofas over my dead body. Yes, you will end a dead body. John, the wife, is saying in the sweetest voice, you can always have the last say. That's a wife who submits. You can always have the last say. The husband gets the assurance that here, when I talk, I will be listened. But mind you, these are on issues where God has not said. Where we have an issue where God said, no meat in the house, then what God says is number one, regardless of what the husband says. Okay? And then the husband, with a big smile, answers, yes, dear Alice. You see, the word dear has been added there because the husband has been honored. Otherwise, endearment will not be there. He would have said, Alice. But now he's saying, dear Alice. Because what the Bible has put has been followed. And love starts shining. Tip number 2, share everything together. It's important that you share with each other your hopes and your dreams, and even your finances. You know, in marriage, you become one. That word, you will cleave, and the two become one. It's one in everything. Now, if you are one, will one receive a salary while the other one doesn't know? Will one spend that money while the other doesn't know? And here is where problems begin. Husband thinks my salary is my salary. Wife thinks my salary is my salary. Then who should buy the food at home? If my salary is mine and hers is hers, she will buy for 1 month. After 1 month, she will begin to complain. It's only me who is buying food. I don't know where your money goes. But if you had pooled your money together, that problem will never arise. That I've been buying food here every time. It's because we have not taken into counsel the Bible notion of two becoming one. Share your hopes, share your dreams. In our premarital counseling, the last topic we normally cover is to say create a shared meaning. As couples have shared meaning. In fact, what I wanted to do was to bring a chart which has a star, and you couples work together in that star to create shared meanings. Where, yes, if you work in the president's office, that's nice. But is that shared meaning that I should work in the president's office? And some make the job a priority than the goals of the family. You know, so that star, I will bring those papers tomorrow. They were supposed to be brought together, but you as couples work together to create shared meaning out of the dreams you have of life. Sharing things together has at least 3 benefits. 1, it helps couples to bond with each other when you have shared meaning. Why are people in a company bonding, even if they don't like each other? How many like their bosses? Perhaps more than 90% don't like your boss. But you are with him 8 hours a day. You sit, you create your company plans together. And in the end, when the salary comes, you all benefit. You know, it's because you put the company vision together. You had a shared vision that everybody in the company works for. We are so smart in running companies. But when it comes to family, we fail to apply even the same principles we use out there. Why? Shared dreams gives hope for the future. Because if I fail, I know there is somebody next to me who will encourage me that what we have put together, we can still achieve. The two need to work together, but they can't work together unless they are agreed. Amos 9:9 says so. The third benefit, it gives couples light at the end of the tunnel. In tough times, that will come for sure. You know, is it 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 12? It says, all who will live godly shall do what? Shall face challenging times, shall suffer persecution. For sure in that marriage, hard time will come. And when hard time comes, the shared meaning that you created together will be what will carry you through. Mark 10:6 says, but at the beginning of creation, God made them male and female and joined them so that the two became one. Become one in every respect, and you will be able to overcome the challenges of marriage. Tip number 3, forgive one another. I wish I had a week to talk about forgiveness. This is the biggest problem in marriages. Some people have very good memories, but their memories work only on wrong things that were done. They will hardly remember the good that was done an hour ago. They will remember the bad that was done 10 years ago. That day of the wedding, I remember very well. When everybody was smiling, you were frowning. From there on, I knew this marriage is going to be difficult. 20 years ago. Forgive one another. You know, Peter came to Jesus and he said, how many times shall I forgive my brothers? 3 times? Peter expected a commendation from Jesus. You know, the Pharisees said, you can only forgive twice. So Peter went to Jesus to try to impress him that I can do a bit more than what the Pharisees do, 3 times. But the answer that came from Jesus shocked Peter. Jesus said to him, forgive 7 times 70. And if you have a good memory to remember 490 times, then you can go to heaven. The gist of that is there is no limit to forgiveness. And yes, there were promises. And you say, I am tired. Every day you say you will change. Every day you say you will change. But you repeat the same thing. It's 5 times now. I am going for a divorce. No. Jesus said 7 times 70. In other words, when it comes to forgiveness, there is no limit. When we speak the Lord's Prayer, you know, there are certain things we do without thinking. But when somebody says, let us pray the Lord's Prayer, I get shivers. You know why? Towards the end of that prayer, it says, forgive me as I forgive those who trespassed against me. Then I look at myself, how forgiving am I? Oh, that person drove in front of me and I started cussing. And I say, this is son of a bitch. If I get hold of him. I'll teach him a lesson. And then I go and say the Lord's Prayer. Forgive me as I forgive those who trespassed against me. Am I forgiven? Surely not. And I know wives are good in keeping records. Women are very poor in keeping records. But women will tell you, I have forgiven you 9 times. Now it's enough. It's enough. Now, let's go back to God. God will only forgive you 9 times. When you say, I can't take it anymore, I am divorcing, I've forgiven this man 10 times. You are saying God should forgive you only 10 times. At the end of that, God should close the door of mercy. Now, if you think that way, then you will never divorce. You will never divorce. In your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. And do not give the devil a foothold. One couple, reading this verse, came to an agreement that we will not go to sleep without resolving our problems. And when a friend visited them, the wife said, we have not slept for 3 weeks. No, this verse doesn't mean that. It means solve them immediately. Then go and enjoy your sleep. Do not give the devil a foothold. You know, I can confess here. One time, you know, every marriage has a problem. I had a little quibble with my wife. And then my wife went to sleep. And that night I called the children. I said, tonight, we are not going to do any devotion. Just go sleep. Then the children say, no, Daddy. There is no way we can go to sleep without a devotion. So in anger, I just went and took the Bible and opened it. I said, wherever it will open. And you know where it opened? Here. Sometimes God rebukes us directly. You know, if I had remembered this, I would have resolved the matter before my wife went to sleep. I had to go and wake her up and say, darling, if I made you angry, I'm sorry. And then I had a nice sound sleep. I don't know why we punish ourselves. All you need to say is, I'm sorry. Then you get your sleep. But these ones were 3 weeks without sleep. The ability to apologize is a show of strength of character. The world has told us that they can't do it. They cannot treat you like this. What do they think you are? And in fact, who are you? You are just a sinner. But the devil wants us to say, why do they do this to me? Me? Can they do this to me? I will teach them a lesson. No, a good lesson is where you are able to humble yourself and ask for forgiveness. That's a good lesson that you can teach others. You don't teach others a lesson by showing them cruelty, by showing them anger. That's not teaching anybody a lesson. So, to apologize is a show of strength. Sister White talks of Samson, probably the strongest man ever to. And then she says the strength of a man is not measured in the muscle that he has. Samson, the strongest, was defeated by Delilah, perhaps one of the weakest ladies. Strength is not measured by the amount of biceps or six-pack that the men like to show around. Strength is showed by how able you are to humble yourself and to earn victory Godwardly. The benefit of apologizing is the one giving it more than the one who receives it. Tip number 4, do not deny each other. All work and no play is a dull marriage. So let your marriage have some trips to go to Etosha. How many wives have been taken to Etosha here? Demand it, demand it. Let there be amusement in that marriage. It's not work, home, kids to school, back, Shifima, then, back to work. And tomorrow you start the cycle again. Even Sister White says, even on Sabbath, take a nature walk. Take your family to the woods somewhere. Look at the insect. Look at the butterfly. And that way you are adding, spice to your marriage. Don't deny each other. Don't live like you are in a suffocated house. Allow people to express what they like and be there when they are doing what they like. Even if you don't like the forest, if the wife says, oh, how I love trees, just be there. When she smiles, you also nod. However bad you feel inside, you are creating an amusement in the marriage and getting out dullness. Tip number 5. Enjoy life with the spouse of your youth. Proverbs 5:15. May your fountain be blessed. God is talking of fountains of blessing when he talks about marriage. But instead, we are talking today of marriages that are so dull that they scare the youth to get married. And may you rejoice in the wife of your youth, in fountains of blessings. Ecclesiastes 9:9. Enjoy life with your wife whom you love all the days of this meaningless life that God has given you under the sun. Now, you have to understand when you read the book of Ecclesiastes, the book of Ecclesiastes is written by somebody who was trying to investigate the meaningful of life without God. And the conclusion of it was, it's meaningless. Life without God is meaningless. That's the premises with which Ecclesiastes is written. So that's why he's talking about the meaningless life, because he's trying to investigate what is the meaning of life without God. So if your marriage is entered without God, if your marriage runs without God, without following these principles, then you are living a meaningless marriage in a meaningless life. Marriage makes sense only when Christ is brought in. Tip number 6. Keep the bed honorable and marriage pure. Many marriages have broken out from this. By the way, statistics show that reason number 1 for breakages in marriage is finances. Number 1. Finances lead. And then the number 2 is infidelity. So if you are able, as we said before, share your finances, and 2, be honest and faithful in your marriage, we will solve perhaps 90% of divorces. And it's the defilement of the bed is the only reason that the Bible allows divorce. And even that Christ says it was allowed because of your hard hearts. So, we divorce even in this because our hearts are hard. In the Bible, we have an example of Hosea and Gomer. Gomer went and played harlotry openly. And you know who goes and tells Hosea, go and get your wife? It's God. The same standards put to Hosea. Do you think we have a different standard? Yeah, you may say God wanted to make an illustration. Yes, it's true. But yet, Hosea was a man given to weaknesses like you and me. What God is trying to say there is that even in adultery, if people will trust God, God is still able to mend a marriage that has gone through problems of adultery. Marriage should be honorable by all, and the marriage bed kept pure, for God will judge the adulterer and all the sexually immoral. Remember, I had said in the beginning that if we fail in marriage, we are most likely going to fail also in eternal life. And it's here. That if in your marriage you are adulterating around, remember that God will judge you. You messed your marriage, you mess also your eternal life. Marriage is not a simple thing as we take it today. Who instituted marriage is God. The first institution that God introduced in the sinless world. God takes it very seriously. And we need to be careful. A telephone rings and somebody picks it up. Hello? And he says, hi, honey. This is Daddy. Is your mom near the phone? Then the little voice answers, no, Daddy. She's upstairs in the bedroom with Uncle Paul. I wonder why many men who are visiting, sometimes illegally, are called uncles. Up in the bedroom with Uncle Paul. After a brief pause, Daddy says, but honey, you don't have an Uncle Paul. You know, there's no Uncle Paul in the family. But this young girl has been told this is your uncle. Oh yes, I do. And he's upstairs in the room with Mom right now. Uncle Paul. Then the voice over the line hesitates. Oh, okay. This is what I want you to do. Put the phone down on the table, run upstairs and knock on the bedroom door and shout to Mommy that Daddy's car just pulled into the driveway. So the little girl does, okay, Daddy, just a minute. A few minutes later, the little girl comes back to the phone. I did it, Daddy. And what happened, honey? He asked. Well, Mommy got all scared. Jumped out of the bed with no clothes. And ran around screaming. Then she tripped over the rug, hit her head on the dresser, and now she's not moving at all. Oh my God. What about your Uncle Paul? He jumped out of the bed with no clothes on. He was all scared and jumped out of the back window and into the swimming pool. But I guess he didn't know that you took out the water last week to clean it. He hit the bottom of the pool, and I think he is dead. 2 people dead in their monkey business. There was a long pause and an even longer pause. Then Daddy thinks he doesn't have a swimming pool. Then he asked, is this number so and so? He realizes that he had called the wrong number. It wasn't his house. But the 2 have received their wages. There is payback time. There is payback time. So you may not have been discovered. In fact, the husband of this wife never knew. But the payback time had come because they defiled the marriage bed. Tip number 7. Marriage has a divine purpose. This is where I want us to, if we can forget all those others, which are very important, but this is the most important part. Marriage has a divine purpose. It's not just going. And we say we are tired of ladies, now we want to marry men and men. Marriage has a divine purpose and has things that are prescribed clearly. We have to understand that with marriage comes the family unit. Out of marriage, God designed that families will come out there. And what is a family? What is a family? You who are married know this by experience. From the expression of your love, one towards the other, new life is created in marriage. New life is created. Who is able to create? Do you know when God gave marriage to mankind, we are the only creatures in God's entire creation who can procreate? Did you know that? Angels don't procreate. So marriage has a great divine purpose. When you marry, you enter into companionship with God to create new lives. The ability that only God has and human beings. God has created many other worlds, but in those worlds there are no marriages. And even in the new heavens and new world that will be created, Jesus said there will not be marriages. This privilege of procreation, we are only given now and in this life. After that, it's not there. And if that privilege has been given to us, we need to guard it carefully. So in marriage comes families. Children are born from the union forming a family unit. As parents, we provide the best for the family and bring the children close to God. That's the main end purpose of marriage. Some people think marriage is sexuality. Really, it's not. God added a little enjoyment there, but that was not the purpose of marriage. The purpose of marriage is you to unite with God in his job of creation. The human family is then patterned after the divine family. When we create a family, small as it is in your house, It's actually typifying what God's family in heaven will be and is. That's not a small thing. As you create your small family, it is an example of God's entire creation, where he has children in different worlds, and they all call him Father. Two beings. God's family is currently composed of two beings, the Father and the Son. The purpose of creation is to bring many sons onto the glory to join this big family of God. That's the purpose of marriage. And if it's seen that way, marriage is a high calling. Now you will think I am creating things. Hebrews 2 verse 10, in bringing many sons to glory, it was fitting that God, for whom and through whom everything exists, should make the author of their salvation perfect through suffering. So God is creating a kingdom composed of God-like beings. And Jesus said here in Hebrew 2:11, both the one who makes men holy and those who are made holy are of the same family. So Jesus is not ashamed to call them brothers. Do you hear that? The children you procreate, Jesus is not ashamed to call them brothers. You created them, but Jesus calls them brothers. What a high privilege. Let your marriage be honorable. Let your marriage be an example of God's entire family. Let your marriage bring young people, boys and girls, sons and daughters, whom Jesus will call sisters and brothers. And that is the final purpose of marriage. If we take this home, I will be happy. May God bless us tonight as we contemplate about this topic, that marriage is a type of union of God's family. Thank you.